In the history of cinema, there are stars who shine brightly for a moment, and then there are those whose light never fades. Audrey Hepburn was not just a star, she was a symbol of elegance, kindness, and resilience. Her face, framed by those large, expressive eyes, became one of the most recognizable in the world. But behind the beauty, there was a story shaped by war, hunger, and unimaginable loss. A story of a young girl who dreamed of becoming a ballerina, only to find herself hiding from soldiers during the darkest days of World War II. And yet, that same girl would go on to captivate audiences, redefine beauty, and devote her life to helping children in need. This is the story of Audrey Hepburn, the ballerina who became a movie star, and the movie star who became a humanitarian icon. Audrey Kathleen Rustin was born on May 4th, 1929, in Brussels, Belgium, to a Dutch Baroness mother and a British father. Her early life was one of privilege, with a childhood that promised comfort and stability. But that comfort was short-lived. When Audrey was just 6 years old, her father walked out on the family. The absence left a wound she would carry all her life. By the time she was 10, the world around her was about to change forever. In 1939, as war clouds gathered over Europe, Audrey's mother moved her to the Netherlands, hoping it would be safer. But safety was an illusion. The Nazis invaded in 1940, and life turned into a daily struggle for survival. Audrey witnessed things no child should ever see. She saw friends taken away. She endured famine so severe that she resorted to eating tulip bulbs to survive. Malnutrition left her with lasting health problems, anemia, asthma, and fragile health that would follow her into adulthood. Yet even in those desperate days, Audrey found escape in dance. She trained as a ballerina in secret, performing for small groups to raise money for the Dutch resistance. Dance became her lifeline, a way to hold on. But the war had left its mark. Years of malnutrition had weakened her body, making it impossible for her to become a professional dancer. Her dreams of the stage and ballet were over before they truly began. It was a devastating blow. Yet, Audrey refused to give up. If she couldn't dance, she would find another way to perform. That decision would lead her down a path that would change her life forever. In London, Audrey began working as a chorus girl in theater productions, using her grace and elegance to stand out. She took small film roles, often going uncredited. Then, fate intervened. While shooting in Monte Carlo for a minor role, French novelist Colette saw Audrey and was captivated. Colette was in the process of casting the lead for her Broadway adaptation of Gigi, and she insisted Audrey was perfect. In 1951, Audrey made her Broadway debut in Gigi, and her natural charm enchanted audiences and critics alike. Hollywood soon came calling. Her breakthrough came in 1953 with Roman Holiday, opposite Gregory Peck. Playing a runaway princess, Audrey's performance was fresh, genuine, and utterly captivating. She won the Academy Award for Best Actress, a stunning achievement for a newcomer. Overnight, she became one of Hollywood's brightest stars. The 1950s and 1960s saw Audrey dominate the silver screen with a string of unforgettable films. Sabrina, 1954, where she starred alongside Humphrey Bogart and William Holden, radiating elegance in Givenchy's designs. Funny Face, 1957, a celebration of fashion and romance, showcasing her ballet background in stunning musical numbers. Breakfast at Tiffany's, 1961, perhaps her most iconic role, where her portrayal of Holly Golightly turned her into a fashion and cultural icon. My Fair Lady, 1964. The transformation of Eliza Doolittle into a refined lady remains one of cinema's most beloved performances. Audrey's beauty wasn't the typical bombshell glamour of the era. It was something different, delicate, refined, and full of warmth. She made elegance look effortless. Designers adored her, and Hubert de Givenchy became not just her designer, but her lifelong friend. Behind the glamour, Audrey's personal life was far from perfect. In 1954, she married actor Mel Ferrer, and the couple had a son, Sean. But the marriage was turbulent, and they divorced in 1968. She later married Italian psychiatrist Andrea Ditti, with whom she had another son, Luca, Yet this marriage, too, ended in divorce. Audrey also endured heartbreak in her attempts to have children. She suffered multiple miscarriages, a pain she spoke of rarely but felt deeply. Her desire for a stable family life often clashed with the demands of her career, leading her to step away from acting at the height of her fame. In the 1980s, Audrey found a new purpose. She became a goodwill ambassador for UNICEF, traveling to some of the world's poorest regions: Somalia, Ethiopia, Bangladesh, and Sudan. She witnessed famine, disease, and suffering on a scale few could comprehend. Audrey didn't just lend her name. She went into the field, met with children, held them, listened to their stories, and advocated for their needs on a global stage. Her work with UNICEF became her life's mission. In her own words, "As you grow older, you will discover that you have two hands, one for helping yourself, the other for helping others." In 1992, Audrey was diagnosed with a rare form of abdominal cancer. She faced it with the same grace she had shown throughout her life. On January 20th, 1993, Audrey Hepburn passed away at the age of 63, in her home in Switzerland, surrounded by her family. The world mourned, but her legacy lived on, in her films, in her style, and in the millions of lives touched. In the end, Audrey Hepburn's greatest role wasn't on the screen. It was in life, where she played herself, a woman of courage, elegance, and an endless capacity to love.